Now, I know I don't want to do I'm doing a little bait and switch, but the lesson's going to be a little different than what you may be expecting this week. It's a little different. But it's going to continue on. When I come back up again, it'll get where it's going. Yeah, you know. Yeah. After my other comrades come up, and then maybe even after more of the Maju who do his series. But like I said, I'll try to do things in a very generic or very simplified way. But there's some things I can't be overly simplified with. So I realize that it's going to take a little more information background wise. So we're still looking forward to the kingdom and things that's going to be happening in the kingdom and in the process of getting to the kingdom and anything that's dealing with the kingdom as we're looking forward to the coming kingdom. So just to start everything off, all the rules that will be used for all lessons. Please keep your mics muted except when asking or answering a question. Use the mic to speak. There's a feature in the room where you can raise your hand if you have a question. All questions must be on topic. You have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. If you pass your 60-second window, your mic will be muted for you. It's nothing personal, so don't take it personal, please. For those that are in the room, you also have 60 seconds to ask or answer a question. There's a mic at each table that can be used. All statements in the room must be limited to 20 seconds. That's that sidebar stuff we do. The microphones on the table can be used to share with others that may not hear you online. These rules are due to the time of the recordings of the lessons. These are live teachings. We must give the Mori enough time to complete the lesson. This will be mixed with discussion to help build one another. Please do not abuse the time. All right, and just a disclaimer. This is kind of part of it. I'm just going to read the last verse, the last line there. Do not take anything personal and miss the message that is being given to help you grow in righteousness, knowledge, understanding, and to make you wise unto salvation through the faith in Mashiach Yahusha. Amen. Amen. All right. So I'll start off with this. What do you see? What do they have in common? Agriculture, seeds, nature. I see Namana, she has her hand up. Oh, very colorful. Namana, I can't hear you if you're talking.
Shalom, Mari.
There we go.
Ta-da. I couldn't unmute my mic for a second. What I see is seeds and I see is weeds, and it depending on the tree that will lead you to the kingdom of life, and the heavens, Shamayim, depending on the seed in the tree.
All right, that's good. I see. It's good. Go ahead, Zakane. I'm gonna come back to you. I got two Zakanes in the room.
I see a pattern of growth.
A pattern of growth. Okay. Yes, you can. It's amazing what you can do with a collage.
That's what I was going to say. All
what do you see?
Grow. All of them can grow.
All of them can grow. Okay. All right. Yahusha Dawood.
I was going to say exactly growth too. Growth, yeah.
All right. I think everybody's got growth. What else?
So I just think about the seed being the word of Elohim, and the word of Elohim will get you to the kingdom.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next slide is going to fill you in on it, but I'm going to give you a hint as to where we're going. You know what type of seed that is? Just off looking at it. Mustard seed. And this is a field of mustard seed plants, not weeds. You know, I mean, it can be. You might think they're weeds. They might be growing in your yard. You're like, I don't know what this is. Cut it down. And then that tree is a mustard seed tree. Yeah. Oh yeah. You let it grow, it gets it'll get real large. The roots go all the way under the ground, deep tap root, spreads out, becomes a big tree from a little seed. You know, it's a spice, mustard spice seed. I used to think it was a mustard green. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can a mustard green? I never seen no big old mustard green grow about it. This mustard green seed about that big, and you don't grow up so big. You know, I never see it growing to a tree, but it's an actual spice, mustard. You know, allspice. All right, and that is equated to the kingdom. So let's go see this. All right, in Luke 13:18-19, he said, "What is the kingdom of Elohim like? And to what shall it compare? Or shall I compare it? It is like a grain of mustard seed that a man took and sowed in his garden, and it grew and became a tree. And the birds of the air made nest in its branches." Made nest in its branches. We see a theme here, don't we? What theme do we see in this parable? What's jumping out at you? That should, besides the colors, Aki, what do you see overall? Remember what I said about last week about how we view the scriptures, the theme that we're seeing that repeats itself, a thread. You got it on your heart, Aki, Adrian? No. All right, let's keep going. All right. In this parable, the kingdom is represented by the seed planted in a garden. Seed planted in a garden that grows into a tree. Although the seed starts off small, the potential that it contains once it reaches maturity will draw and protect all that seek shelter there. So this big old tree, it grows, it starts a little seed, and this big tree grows when it reaches maturity, and the birds are drawn to it. These birds represent a certain thing. All right. This theme of trees and gardens is represented nations and kingdoms as seen used throughout the Tanakh. You see this example of this all throughout the Tanakh. So when you're reading, this should come to mind every time. We used to say that the scriptures would interpret itself, right? Okay. Keep these patterns in mind as we're going forward. All right. So here's an example of it being representative of a kingdom and a nation. And this particular scripture here in Ezekiel 31:1-6, for those that may be the first time they've ever read it or they've read it and they didn't really understand it. Thank you. Yeah, that was my ringtone. Yeah. I know who that person is. They're in the room right now. All right, Ezekiel 31:1-6. In the 11th year, in the 3rd month, on the 1st day of the month, the word of Elohim, the word of Yahuwah came to me, "Son of man, say to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and to his multitude, who are you like in your greatness?" He's making a comparison, right? And this is really this is a prophecy against Egypt, right? So he's going to compare them to Assyria. Behold, Assyria was a cedar in Lebanon. This is another thing. These trees, right? These trees represent the kingdom with beautiful branches and a forest shade and a towering heights. Its tops among the clouds. The water nourishes it, and the deep made it grow tall, making its river flow around the places of its planting, sending forth its streams to all the trees of the field. Now, this water nourishing, what do you think that is? When we talk about this water nourishing and this deep, what do you got, Ike?
His root.
The water?
The
We're talking about the water.
Oh,
What is-
well, maybe like, no, I don't think I'd actually.
Okay. Iman?
The word.
Okay, you can get the word, okay. But we're talking about Assyria here. Let's keep it in context. All right, we're talking about Assyria here, and we're talking about a kingdom and what this represents, this cedar tree represents. What else we got? Anybody? Nope. All right, so think about it this way. The water nourishes it. It's talking about the economic power, its influence, its flow, its status. It is a large tree. Its resources go deep. Water is a resource, a nourishing resource. It has plentiful of it. And all the trees of the stream, it nourishes all the countries and people around it, right? These trees represent people and nations. And the field represents what? The earth, the world, and the land, right? So it so towers high all above the trees of the fields, and its boughs grew large, and its branches long from abundant water in its shoots. And all the birds of heaven made their nest in its boughs under its branches, and all the beasts of the field gave birth to their young, and under its shadow lived all the great nations. This is what it's representing, how great this nation was. It was a very powerful nation, and every other nation benefited from it. Reminds you of something, right? In some ways, we're starting to slip from that pedestal, but everybody looks to a certain country to provide them things. They have greater resources. They have greater military power. They look for protection. Right? That's what this is representing here. Let's keep going. Oh, Namana.
Sika, Maury, it kind of reminds, of the United States when you said that the bottom part, how it's looking to like a nation to provide everything to them.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. Everybody agrees with you here. All right. So it kind of gives you that picture, right? Kind of for me. Hey, so when you look at this, we also think about what's happening right now in our geopolitical economy, right? What's going on with BRICS? You're not hearing a whole lot about it, but it's still happening, right? Right? There's a shift getting ready to happen, right? A shift getting ready to happen. This water is shifting. The resources are shifting. The way the currencies are happening are shifting. And, so we can't depend on the way things used to be. All right, let's keep going. All right, Ezekiel 37:7-9. It was beautiful in its greatness, and in the length of its branches, for its roots went down to abundant waters, abundant resources. And the cedar in the garden of, in the cedars, get the S on that, the cedars in the garden of Elohim could not rival it. What does that make you think? The cedars in the garden of Elohim could not rival it. What do you got?
Pretty much the surrounding nations wasn't more powerful than that main branch.
Who is the cedars in the garden of Elohim?
The other nations.
The cedars in the garden of Elohim. I'm just trying to print. Yeah, go ahead, Aki. Cedars in the garden of Elohim.
I would think that's the people of Yahuwah, people of Elohim.
People of Israel. Okay, So you say the cedars in the garden of Elohim could not rival it, nor the fir trees equal its boughs, neither the plane trees like its branches, right? No trees in the garden of Elohim was equal its beauty. So all these trees represent nobles and regular citizens in the garden, and the garden represents the nation itself, Jerusalem, right? They're sitting there wanting to be like them. We have that same, we want to be, we like this nation. This nation is they're powerful, they're strong. We want to be friends with them. We want to align ourselves with their beliefs. Huh? Yeah. So this is what this means, right? When you're looking at it. This kingdom, this representation, we're going to see this throughout. All right, as we're looking forward to the kingdom. All right, the garden and the tree theme. All right, Ezekiel 17:22-23. And thus says Adon Yahuwah, I myself will take a sprig from the lofty top of the cedar and will set it out. I will break off from the topmost of its young twigs a tender branch. I myself will plant it on a high and lofty mountain. Right? So this is speaking of the rebellious house of Israel and how Yahuwah plans to take the younger generation and start over. We see that theme repeat itself, don't we not? When the first time we see it? Go ahead, hold on. Who going first? I see you reaching for the mic.
Oh, okay. And that was in Exodus when Joshua was. No,
I mean, you're
I'm
in the right side of the book for sure. You close. Hold on. You my first, and then I'm coming to you.
Okay, is it referencing in Devarim where he told him that the first was going to get killed off and their offspring was going to go over into the promised land?
Yes. What you got, sis? You want to add on to that? You want to focus in more?
I could be wrong, but I'm channeling Daniel. I've been reading in the book of Daniel when
Okay.
He interpreted Nebuchadnezzar's dream, but he was telling him that he was a bad tree.
Yeah, it goes right along with that. That's great. You see in the picture. All right, now, Mana.
Shalom. I wanna agree with Ima when Abba Yahuwah said that generation shall not go over to see the promised land because they were unbelieving and disobedient generation. So their children could go over to the promised land, and that previous generation would die off.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they spent 40 years in the wilderness, and they were basically going around in circles because they were an unbelieving generation.
Absolutely. Abiyahu, is that right?
One of the things that comes to mind when it talks about the younger generation being used was pretty much in the tents of Korah. The adults were, of course, swallowed up, and what was remaining was the innocence that was left over. So,
For me, Bar, that's what the first time you start reading over.
Kind of reminds me of some passages in the Bri Hadashah where he talk about the first should be last, last should be first, and that the kingdom is like the little children.
Mm-hmm. So he said he's gonna break off. He's gonna break off. Now this word for break off here, boom, is what? Now, why you always gotta do it? You spoil it for everybody. And then it don't even be in a mic. It just be out loud. So, all right. It means to remove as a harvest the fruit parts of a plant, or in this case, we're looking at breaking off and removing a sprig of the tree as a propagation technique, right? Speaking of propagation, so this tree is now, we're speaking directly about Israel. Now you got to keep that in mind. First we was talking about a cedar, we was talking about Assyria. This cedar refers to Israel, right? They got big and mighty, and they got too big for their britches. And he's like, you guys are wickeder and wickeder, so that's what I'm gonna start over again. And I'm gonna do this. This is a propagation. This process is being called is propagation. This points to the remnants and survivors from a previously established tree to make a new tree. How many of y'all done that before? Horticulture? Anybody done that? I do that all the time. All right, you can take a sprig of a blueberry bush, stick it in some sand, keep it moist, it's gonna sprout roots. Then you take that, stick it in some soil, you got a brand new blueberry bush. Blackberry bush. All right. A new tree. In this case, to replace the old one. And this is a planting, this planting points to the future kingdom. All right, let's keep going. All right. And on the mountains heights of Israel, what is that pointing to? The mountain heights of Israel. What do you think? You see, say something about I'm gonna
sound like
Zion.
Zion.
There you go. We don't want you to say nothing. No, we don't want you to say no bad words. Zion. All right, Zion. But it points to a specific mountain. All right, specific mountain. All right. will I plant it, and it may bear branches and produce fruit and become a noble cedar. And under it will dwell every kind of bird in the shade of its branches and every sort of its nest. So we see the same pattern repeated. This tree is going to grow, and it's going to provide this protection. It's going to provide this shade for all types of birds, and provide shade, safety, warmth, protection from the weather and so forth. But it talks about this bearing. Let's see, let me do it here. It bears. Let's see, no, okay. So this noble. All right, this noble is an adjective. Very important. This noble cedar. All right, so as an adjective, it shows the great strength, the force, or intensity. As an adjective, it's also inspiring awe and reverence in the beholder, and can be seen because it's like, wow, look at this massive tree. Can you imagine a tree so big? How can you imagine a tree the size of a mountain, extending its head, top of it's all the way in the clouds? You've seen some red trees, redwoods. You can cut through them and they drive a car right through them. And that's a small tree. But this is also refers to, as a noun, a member of the ruling class. This noble cedar. So we are to be of the ruling class, right? The ruling class. Keep that in mind, because I'm going to show you something again in the next slide. All right, drop down to 24. And all the trees of the field, remembering that the trees represent the people and the field represents the earth, shall know that I am Yahuwah. And I will bring low the high trees and make high the low trees, and dry up all the green trees, and make the dry trees flourish. I am Yahuwah, I have spoken and I will do it. In other words, the kingdoms that are thriving right now, they're gonna dry up. And the ones that seem to be dry, they're gonna come flush, green, valleys again, valley again. Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. All right, Isaiah 61:3. I just wanted to come to a specific part, but I'll read that. To grant to those who mourn in Zion, to give them a beautiful headdress or head wrap, instead of ash and the oil of gladness, hallelujah, instead of mourning, and the garment of praise instead of a faint spirit, and that they may be called oaks, right? Oaks. In older versions, you'll see the word used there is trees of righteousness, the planting of Yahuwah, that he may be esteemed. So, what's the word for tree?
Eights.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, thank you. Yeah, it's just eights. So why would they translate it oaks now? If it's supposed to, in the older versions, like the literal translation or the King James version, it says trees. All right, let's go look at it. All right. What is that word? Ayil. All right. So Ayil literally means a mighty tree or a large tree, right? But they say most probably an oak to give you an image or a visualization of that. But with the word, that's actually a word for that tree, that type of tree, but they're not using it here. What it's really referring to is a leader who rules or guides or inspires others. So remember that noble ruling class? You're going to be that Alil, that leader who rules and guides and inspires others to bring them into the kingdom, to talk to them and lead them into the kingdom. All right. And he said, this is the planting of Yahuwah. We're going to get to that later. All right. Isaiah 60, 21, 22. Your people shall all be righteous. Why is that? I said, did I read that right? Your people shall all be, some of them going to be righteous. Oh, so why is that? I know you got this answer. Naamana, she beat y'all to the buzzer.
Because it will be a kingdom of priests, and our Yahuwah is righteous, so we must be righteous.
Okay. What else we got? Somebody else want to add to that? No? Okay, let's keep going. All right. All right. For all the evildoers should be cut out. Right? All the evildoers will be gone. You're starting over, right? Let's clear the slate. Let's get all the evildoers out of here. I'm going to have the ones that's on the fence. All right? No, get them out. But those who wait for Yahuwah shall inherit the land. And it says, and all shall be righteous, and they shall possess the land forever. And the branch of my planting, the works of my hand, refers to that house of Jacob. And I'll show you that a little later. We're going to get to that. That I might be esteemed. The least one shall become a clan. The least one. And the smallest one, a mighty nation. I am Yahuwah. It is time I will hasten. And it's time I will hasten it. So we got to wait for Yahuwah's timing. Right? They say all the timing is in the Father's hands. Right? All the time is in the Father. And those who have survived on the earth will experience that. So we don't know when it's going to happen. And when the time begins to approach for that great day, there's a period we call it tribulation, right? We call it a time of tribulation, the pangs of Jacob. Some people think it's already happened. In some cases, a happening. Yeah, you say birth pangs, all right, but there's a lot of stuff that has to happen and things that we're going to experience. But we're talking about these that survive on the earth. Everybody not going to survive. I'm not going to get into that today. All right. This planting of Yahuwah. Yahushua says, every plant that my heavenly Father has not planted will be rooted up. That's why it's all going to be righteous. Right? You ain't righteous, you're out. How do you become righteous? It's the off top. Yeah, I know. Now we become righteous. Okay. I'm a new person. Yeah, what makes us righteous? What makes us righteous? What makes a person righteous?
Guarding and doing the commandments.
Okay, let's keep it that simple. All right, that's our righteousness in Yahushua. He's our justification for everything. All right, he's making us that. All right, he said, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser, and every branch in me that does not bear fruit is what? Takes away. He takes it away. And every branch that does not bear fruit, he prunes. Right? So that means I might not be doing too well right now. Right? But he gonna prune me. And pruning is a tribulation. It's very traumatic. If you've ever pruned a tree, I've pruned the tree to where it seemed like I killed it. It's almost like it was dead. But the following season, you have more branches and it's more fuller and greener and everything. So this is why the agricultural, going back to that agricultural mind is important and going back to that state, learning. You remember he sent us into captivity. What did he tell us to do? Well, let's say he sent Israel into captivity. What did he tell them to do? What's one of the things he told them to do when he went to Babylon? And when he went into Babylon. Yeah, hold on, maybe Naaman, I'm going to have the answer.
He said, do not bow down and worship any other El. Do not, he told him to I have so much to say more, but he basically said, do not become like the heathens. Do not bow down and worship
All right.
other
I want you to keep in mind that we're talking about gardens and trees, and what did he tell them to do? Damn, who? What say? Who said? Say it online.
On YouTube, Yaakov Tova said, build houses and plant gardens.
There you go. There you go. Plant gardens, plant olive trees. All right. So this is one of the things he told them to do. So let's go. Boom. Isaiah 29. Therefore, thus says Yahuwah, who redeemed Abraham. How did he redeem Abraham? What does that mean? I want you, come on, Bible students. That's why I'm talking Bible. There you go.
He redeemed his offsprings.
How did he redeem Abraham, though?
How do you redeem him?
Mm-hmm. Well, remember how he was approached. I'm going to give you that clue.
When he gave him the covenant?
Okay, that's part of it. Good. Now, Mana?
He redeemed Abraham. I thought it was when he gave him the covenant, but when Abraham was obedient.
Okay, you close.
When he did not sacrifice Jacob.
Okay. But before that, he called him and he believed him.
Before that, he called him out of his father's house, and Abraham had belief in him.
Mm-hmm.
It showed him. It's so much more. I'm trying to get it. I know I'm on the right path, but I just.
I got you. He called him and he believed him. Let's keep it real simple. He called him. All right. Concerning the house of Jacob shall no more be ashamed, and no more shall his face grow pale. Right? Be with embarrassment and like, oh my goodness, here my children go again. Look at these. Right? For when he sees his children, the works of my hand in his midst, they will Kodesh my name. They will Kodash, the Kadash one of Yaakov, and will stand in awe of the Eloi of Israel. And those who go astray in spirit will come to understanding, and those who murmur will accept instruction. My question is, how do you go astray in spirit? Open question. How do you go astray in spirit? Now, Mana?
You go astray in spirit when you fail to listen and obey what the Ruach is telling you, when you just do not follow the law, statutes, and commandments. You don't listen. You become hard-headed.
Okay.
And that's what Israel did.
Okay.
Sorry. Sika.
I got it. Thank you. I'm not going to prolong it. Go ahead. What is this word here? Okay. All right. It means to wander. That's the word for stray there. The first definition, making a linear motion is traveling from place to place without one specific immediate goal. Note in some contexts, this wandering may refers to a straying from the right way of life or some right principles. Right? You're going to see some examples of that in a little bit. The second first of straying is a straying to be misled, holding the wrong view about something. Right? You can be holding the wrong view about something, and it'll take you off the right course, no matter how good your intentions are.
Tova said, by living the traditions of men
Going
and not being set apart.
Okay. All right. The focus, I say, holding the wrong view about something with focus that is wrong belief also has the wrong behaviors which need correcting or correction, right? As a figurative extension of wandering off a correct path for the focus on rebellion and or sin involved in the deception. Also for a focus of change of opinion concerning truth, kind of wavering on truth, what it is, not being sure. It evolves with extenuating circumstances. All right, you deceive yourself. you deceive yourself and led astray, misled. So let's look at some samples of that. All right, boom. In Psalms 119, 176, I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek your servant. That means that person didn't completely leave, right? They just lost direction. They got off the track for whatever reason. It could be because they didn't have proper guidance, right? They just didn't have clear directions on things. They're trying to do what the word says. They know what it says, but they don't really understand it fully, and so they're doing it on their own. They don't have a good teacher or someone that can help them, point them in the right direction. All right. Proverbs 10:17. Whoever heeds instruction is on the path of life, but he who rejects reproof leads others astray. All right? You refuse correction. Nobody can tell you you're wrong. You always right. You know what it says. I do in my study. I've been doing this. You can't tell me. But if you're going astray, it's our responsibility. And the Torah tells us about what? Even to our enemies. If we see their ox or their donkey going astray, what are we supposed to do? Get them back on, bring them back. You can't, so if you're going to be stubborn about it, then of course, what do you do with a stubborn donkey? Thank you, Aki. You didn't tell it in the mic. You kill it. You break its neck. Break its neck. All right. Let him not trust in emptiness. That emptiness means what? Worthlessness. It means vain things. Let him not trust in vain things, deceiving himself. For emptiness will be his payment. And here we go with that garden language again. And he will be paid in full before his time, and his branches will not be green. And he will he will shake off his unripe grapes like the vine, and cast off his blossoms like the olive tree, because he's deceived. The person is deceived about what they believe. They're holding to some type of tradition of man. They're holding to some type of even tradition in their cultural understanding, and they don't want to move from that. That's why I started with. That's what I'm ending with. You believe it or not, we come over into the knowledge of the truth in our Hebrew culture and understanding, and we'll say we are born away and die away. Same thing they did. You remember you used to be born a Baptist, you're gonna die a Baptist. Nah, you ain't never heard that saying? You ain't never heard nobody say that? I heard somebody. I ain't never heard. You never heard nobody? I'm too old. I'm telling on myself then. That was a saying. You was born something, you're gonna die something. You was in this organization, that's the way it was gonna be. Yeah, that's all it is. They didn't do that up north in Midwest or something like that. Okay. Don't stop that. The devil is a lie. All right, here we go. James 5:19-20 tells us, my brothers, if anyone among you wanders from the truth and someone brings him back, let him know that whoever brings back a sinner from his wandering will save his soul from death and will cover a multitude of sin. Don't let me wander off the path. I'm not going to let you wander off the path. And if you see me being stuffnecked and hardhead, you know what the next step is? Go get a witness. Don't just write me off. You want to jump off the bridge? Just jump off the bridge then, huh? Do you? Don't do that.
You want to be your brother's keeper.
That's what we say.
Don't let him jump off the bridge.
Yeah, that was something that he asked the question. He said he was saying that in sarcastic manner. Am I my brother's keeper? Yeah, shump. Yeah. So, whatever. Okay, let's moving on. We are currently living in an age where we see the Father's, the favor of the Father extended to his people, and he promises that those who believe and have been waiting will have an opportunity to reconcile with him because he's willing to forgive. We're living in this age, right? They were waiting. Those, the patriarchs, those who were keeping the faith, those that were holding on, those that are sleeping in their grave right now, they were waiting to see his day, right? So here we go, Ezekiel 37:23. I say, they shall not defile themselves anymore with their idols and their detestable things or with any of their transgressions, but I will save them from all their backslidings. Now, that word backsliding is not there. It's translated as dwellings, places where they dwell, but it's understood figuratively as the backslidings, in which they have sinned, and all will cleanse themselves or cleanse them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. This is the promise. He's gonna forgive us. He's gonna wipe the slate clean for those that trust in him, his salvation. Right? He provide a way or means of salvation. Now, when we were back, we were just trusting in his word that I'm going to keep his commandments. I'm going to follow him. I believe in Mashiach is going to come. I believe the Savior is going to come. He's going to send us deliverance for the nation. We were in bondage. We were in captivity many times. We're in captivity now. I remember the day I woke up and realized I was still in captivity. I said, man, I was born in captivity. I didn't even realize. All right. So Titus says, for the favor of Elohim has appeared, bringing salvation to some of the people. Oh, okay. All the people, training us to renounce the un-Elohimliness. I made a word, un-Elohimliness. It says godliness, but un-Elohim, being like Elohim. That's what we're supposed to be reflecting in our actions, in our walk, in our talk with one another. In this world, we're supposed to represent him in our actions. And worldly passions, putting those things aside, to live self-control. Self-control, that's a hard thing. When I want it, I want it. Right? So we got to learn. That's something we have to learn. We have to do. Upright and Elohim-like. We're supposed to live our lives in this present age. The word there was godly. So Elohim-like Elohim. Yeah. Awaiting for our blessed hope, the appearing of the esteem of our great Elohim and Savior, Yahushua Mashiach, who gave himself for us to redeem us from all lawlessness. He redeems us, right? So he talks about cleansing us from the detestable things, the idols, the things that defile us, the things that gives us a right to him to cut us off and put us away. Yeah, the un-Elohimness of it all, right? And to purify for himself a people for his own possession who are zealous for good works. All right. He goes on to say, all right, 37, continue on, drop down. My servant David shall be king over them. What do y'all think about that? My servant David. David was in the grave when he wrote this, but when he said, my servant David, what do we know? Do you know? Let's see. Well, we know that resurrection is possible, right? Yeah. But is that what he's saying? No? Okay. Okay, let's go see. All right, Jeremiah 23. Behold, the days are coming, declared Yahuwah, when I will raise up for David a righteous branch, and he shall reign as what? Reign as king, and deal wisely, and shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. And in his day, Yehudah will be what? And Israel will dwell safely, securely. And this is the name by which they will be called. Yahuwah is our righteousness. Yahuwah is our righteousness. All right, so we see David, he is a branch. He's going to raise him up, right? It's David. All right, he goes on to say, there shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse. I know sometimes we want to believe that we are David. You know, not named David, you know, but we, the nation of Israel, we are that person, right? But he said there's certain characteristics about this shoot, this branch, Netzar. I shall bring forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots that shall bear fruit. Here's some of the characteristics. Does it fit you? All right. And he shall, and the spirit of Yahuwah shall rest upon him, and the spirit of wisdom and understanding, and the spirit of counsel and might, and the spirit of knowledge, and the fear of Yahuwah. And his delight shall be in the fear of Yahuwah. And he shall not judge by what he sees, his eyes see, or decide disputes based on what his ears hear. That kind of comes out, cuts most of us out, because we'll just eyeball that thing and call it. Yeah, we heard something, I believe it. That sounds about right. All right. So we obviously can't be Dawood in this situation. All right. The righteous he shall judge. It was righteousness he shall judge the poor and decide equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall strike the earth with his rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall kill the wicked. You ain't got that? Okay. All right, let's keep going. All right, this king, my servant David, and my beloved king, you know, my beloved servant. That's what David means, right? Dawood, my beloved servant shall be king over them. And he shall all have one shepherd, and they shall walk in my rules and be careful to obey my statutes. They shall dwell in the land that I have gave to my servant Jacob, where your fathers live. So this is a real thing. He's not just speaking metaphorically, once upon a time. The land, the earth, the Eretz, the land. He wants us to have it. This is his land. All right. He's going to bring us back to that place. They and their children and their children's children shall dwell there for how long? Forever. And David, my servant, shall be their prince forever. And I will make a covenant of what? Peace. We talked about that last week, about that covenant of peace. Right? With them, and it shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will set them in their land and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in their midst forevermore. My dwelling place shall be with them, and I will be their Elohim, and they will be my people. Then the nations will know that I am Yahuwah, who purifies, sanctifies, purifies Israel, when my sanctuary is in their midst forever. Is that happening right now? Right. He is a sanctuary unto us individually, where we at. You know, we're remembering, we're getting to that place. He's cleaning, doing the work. He's washing us in the water of the word, right? Let's keep going. Boom. The land will be restored. The ancient ruins will be rebuilt, and Yahuwah will be the tabernacle over the land. You imagine that? Aren't you looking forward to that? Let's go ahead. All right, Isaiah 4:2-6. In the day, the branch of Yahuwah shall be beautiful and marvelous, and the fruit of the land shall be the pride and honor of the who? Survivors. Talking about that remnant. I talked about that. There's going to be some survivors. Remember earlier I mentioned survivors. We ain't going to get deep in it. I'm just going to highlight it right now because I'm going to get to it. Okay. I'm going to get, yeah, I did. I'm just, you know. All right, that's for another time. All right, this is the focus right here. All right, that's for another time. All right. Yes, it does. Yeah. All right, and he who is left in Zion and remains in Jerusalem will be called Kodesh. Everyone who has been recorded in the life, right, for life in Jerusalem, right? Everyone who has been recorded for life. These are survivors. You know, I say somebody, everybody won't survive. All right, when Yahuwah shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion and cleaned the bloodstains of Jerusalem from its midst by a spirit of judgment and by a spirit of burning. And Yahuwah will create over the whole site of Mount Zion and over her assembly a cloud by day and smoke and shining of flaming fire by night. For over all the esteem, they will be a canopy, right? They're going to be a canopy. And there will be a booth, and it will be a booth, or there will be a booth for shade by day and for heat and for refuge and shelter from the storm and the rain. Remembrance of what? It takes your mind back to, okay, yeah, thank you, brother. You be on it. Yeah, you helped me preach. Thank you. All right. This canopy, can you imagine it? Oh, the whole. It's not just it was stated. How many people came out of Mitzrayim? You saying a couple thousand? 2 million men at least, eh? Some say 6 million or more. Yeah, they said a great multitude, but they told us about the men. So think about that cloud that was spread over them, that kept them cool in the daytime and then provided light at night. You had to worry about it being too dark. It's dark out here in the desert. Those of us that been to Jerusalem and Israel, we know you don't like driving around in the mountains at night. All right. Isaiah 61, 4-5. I'm almost done. And they shall build up the ancient ruins, and they shall raise up the former devastations, and they shall repair the ruined cities and devastations of many generations and many generations. Strangers shall stand and tend your flocks, and foreigners shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. All right, we're going there. We're going to head there. This is going to be a part of it. When he brings us back and establishes us, there's going to be some things happening. Does it make it? This is a righteous thing that's happening. So I want you to keep that in mind. Don't think of it as, don't try to put it in the frame of mind we have now, how we think about captivity or slavery or whatever, this chattel thing. In the future kingdom, the children of Yaakov will be brought back to the land with much esteem by those nations who they were scattered. Wherever we were sent, oh yeah, they're going to gather us up. They're going to realize who they are, because those that survived, right? Those that survived, there's another group that didn't survive, and they are located in a certain location, right? But there's a group that survived, and they'll be interacting. They're coming from they've earned a different level, I should say. I'll get to it later, but I don't want to get bogged down in it right now. All right, Isaiah 14, 1-2. For Yahuwah will have compassion on Yaakov and will again choose Israel, and will set them in their own land, and sojourners will join with them and will attach themselves to the house of Yaakov, and the people will take them and bring them to their places. Come on, you're Israel. Can't you? Come on, man. I got a ship, I got a boat, I got airplanes. We're going to get you back to your land, right? The house of Israel will possess them, and Yahuwah's land as male and female slaves. Right? That's not how Yahuwah gave us instruction on how we should treat. He said, you were once slaves in Mitzrayim. Right? You know how it is. And they will take captive those who were their captives and rule over them who oppressed them. All right. And this is why, all right? So we're gonna continue on. This captives being captives. Joel says this, for behold, in those days and at that time, in the future time, when I restore the fortunes of Yehuda and Jerusalem, and I will gather all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will enter into judgment with them there on behalf of my people and my heritage Israel, because they have scattered them among the nations, and have divided up my land, and have cast lots for my people, and have traded a boy for a prostitute, and have sold a girl for wine, and have drunk it. Right? This is the things that were going on. This is literal things that have happened. All right. And he says, he continues on and says, they sold the people of Judah and Jerusalem to the Greeks in order to remove them from their own borders. Behold, I will stir them up from the place to which you have sold them, and I will return your payment on your own head. I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hands of the people of Yehuda, and they will sell them to the Sabeans, to the nation far away, for Yahuwah has spoken it. This is a righteous thing. Yahuwah's vengeance. Yahuwah repays. Nobody can repay like he repaid. Now, we got into that position that we got into because we was treating our brothers and sisters wrong. We were selling in our own people. We was mishandling the widows and the fatherless. We was cheating and robbing each other. That's how we got into the situation. We was violating the commandments left and right. Right? So that's what got us into the situation. But when we got into their hands, they did us, they was going overboard. All right, let's keep going. All right. And Zechariah 8, 23. Thus says Yahuwah of hosts, people shall yet come, even the inhabitants of many cities. The inhabitants of one city shall go to another one, saying, let us go at once to entreat the favor of Yahuwah and seek Yahuwah of hosts. I myself am going. And many people and strong nations shall come to seek Yahuwah of hosts in Jerusalem, and to entreat the favor of Yahuwah. Thus says Yahuwah of hosts, in those days 10 men from the nations of every tongue shall take hold of the roll of a Yahudi, saying, let us go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you. The time is coming. The time is going to come. All right? All right, the mountain, I'm done. This is it. I'm almost done. The mountain of Yahuwah's house. Remember, he said he's going to take this sprig and he's going to put it in the mountain. He's going to plant it up at the top of the mountain. The mountain of Yahuwah's. We're going to see this in a minute. And in the day, the root of Jesse, who shall stand as a ensign, a signal for the peoples, of him shall the nations inquire, and his resting place shall be a kabod. So who is this branch is speaking of now? Who we, everybody said, yeah. You gonna say it?
Mashiach.
Mashiach. Does everybody agree? It's agreed. Okay. All right. Revelations 22:16. I, Yahusha, have sent my Malach to testify to you about all these things for the assemblies. I am the root and the descendant of Dawood, the bright and morning star. All right, so this is the root of Jesse. And he is the signal, the sign for the people, the ensign. What's the word for banner in Hebrew? There you go, Nisi. Yeah, don't be scared. Nisi. I ain't talking about your cousin Nisi either. All right. Isaiah 2, we done, almost here. We done. And it shall come to pass in the latter days that the mountain of Yahuwah's house shall be established in the highest of the mountains, or as the highest of the mountains. There's nothing going to be above Yahuwah. Nothing and nobody. Everything else going to look like hills. You have big old mountains. The highest mountain you can think of is going to look like a little hill, and it shall be lifted up above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it, and many people shall come and say, come, let us go up to the mountain of Yahuwah, to the house of Elohim of Yaakov, that he may teach us his ways, and that we walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahuwah from Jerusalem, and he shall judge between the nations, and he shall decide disputes for many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares. It's agriculture again. We're going back to agriculture. It ain't going to be the days of just going to the grocery store. All right. The spears into pruning hooks, Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And all these nations are going to be coming. And so, who you got? Yahushua, you got a question?
Yeah, quickly. What did you say? Banner was Nice in Hebrew?
Nisi.
Nisi.
Yahuwah
Okay.
Nisi.
Toda.
Got it. Yeah. That's the word for signal there. Right? Signal. All right. Romans 15:8. For I tell you that Mashiach became a servant to the circumcised to show Elohim's truthfulness in order to confirm the promises given to the patriarchs, and in order that the Gentiles might esteem Elohim for his mercy. What did he say about it's a light thing that I send you to the house of Israel, Yaakov? I will make you a light to the nations, to the Gentiles. See, it's easy. I can just send you down there for that one group of people, right? But no, I want everybody that's mine. I want all the birds to come flocking to this tree, this nation, right? And so he tells them, he said, as it is written, therefore I will praise you among the Gentiles and sing to your name. And again, it says, rejoice, O Gentiles, with his people, not without his people, with us, right? We're going to see other places later on, but not today. And again, praise Yahuwah, all you Gentiles, and let all the people extol him. And again, Isaiah says, the root of Jesse will come, even he who arises to rule the Gentiles, rule the nations. In him, all the Gentiles will hope. Not just us, all the birds, every nation, every kindred, every tongue. Everybody's going to submit themselves and bow the knee. They're going to willingly, whatever you want. How do you want us to do it? Where you want us to stand? How you want us to go? All right. This will be an age of shalom under the rulership of the king who shall reign within the city called Yahuwah is there. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And, I went over my time. All right. So with that, is there any questions pertaining to this lesson, this talk today? No? Oh, let us stand.
All right. Our hearts and mind clear. Toda Abba Yahuwah for your message. Toda Abba Yahuwah for all that you've done, all that you continue to do for us. Abba Yahuwah, we come before you as humbly as we can, asking you that you find us worthy to escape the hour of trial and that we be able to stand before the Son of Adam. Have us, Yahuwah, to be courageous. Have us, Yahuwah, to be strong and steadfast in your word and your way in the belief of Yahushua HaMashiach. Fill us with your Ruach. Have us to walk in it so we do not accomplish the lust of the flesh thereof. We thank you, we praise you, we exalt you, we magnify you. We say hallelujah in the name of Yahushua. Thank you for the food that we're about to receive. May it be a nourishment to our bodies. Amen.
All right, let's go ahead and get ready for the Hebrew class.